Wow, what a challenge it is to get through this without Fed posting. Almost insurmountable. Really, really difficult. It's like with Mystery Science Theater 3000. They were a show in the 90s, and they had to stay within the filters. So it made for a very creative show because they had to find jokes that were just on the line and were acceptable. And it was a very, very funny show. It's too bad. I mean, it went for 10 years. It's not like it didn't go long enough, but and the thing is, honestly, when they took it off the air, it's probably like, yeah, political correctness was just about making it impossible. You can go back and watch Mystery Science Theater. It's on YouTube, Odyssey, Bit Chute, and a bunch of other sites. Almost all the jokes are politically incorrect now, and that was in the 90s. It wasn't that long ago. And the thing is, in the 90s, we thought we were pretty PC in the 90s, and you realize how fast things accelerate. Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, things are accelerating, but it's also people are working to remove any system of brakes from the train and then grease the tracks. It's like, yeah, everything's headed in one direction. So, short video, because, I mean, how hard is it to say that men aren't women? Yes, but, well, no, see, I feel like this is a concept that the left can't meme because they're lying to you. Their argument doesn't reach the conclusions. They have to use a lot of convoluted arguments. The communist dialectic predicts this. Like, well, where has it been accurate? Oh, well, it hasn't, because empirically it fails every time. Oh, okay, then, I mean, why are you seeking this conclusion? I mean, ultimately, you got to point to some of these people who are deliberately doing things that don't work, expecting a different conclusion, and say, like, well, I mean, that's kind of the definition of crazy. And you're trying to, if you're legitimately trying to argue with crazy people, there's no point in it. You just have to look at them and say, what you're doing is not in accord with reality. There's arguments to be made for all political beliefs, but if you're arguing something that has such a high history of failure and you're disavowing things that have a history of success, there's some illogic there that reasonable adults will look at and say, okay, there's what's going on with you. Why are you pushing this? And then you have to look at them more closely. So, Clown World, start date, infinite loop. It's just an infinite loop of this humiliation ritual. So in case you're not aware, Twitter is a collection of emotional people who never ask for evidence. It's all just tribal witch trials from mostly low IQ crowd followers. If the crowd says they don't like J.K. Rowling, nobody asks for any evidence. And it's funny because I think she's legitimately a left-wing person, but she is not left-wing enough. So that's once you get on the periphery of the herd, it doesn't take much to get kicked out and have an independent thought. Like, yeah, I'm on the left on every single issue, but I believe life begins at conception. That's every other issue I'm on the left. Life's at conception. Oh, well, you're no longer on the left. Well, no, it's not. I'm not some like religious nut job. I'm a scientist. I mean, it's the conceptions that point on the space timeline. There's no point prior to that where two separate entities become one entity. It's just a scientific point of fact. Oh, well, you're just a Nazi now. Oh, okay, that's an interesting purity spiral. So if the crowd says they don't like JK, well, it's just kind of a done deal. And then when no one says raise his hand, it's like, so why are we hating JK now? If you have to ask. Yeah, I did ask. I'm asking facts and evidence. I want to see your argument. Well, she's like a shitty person or like whatever. Yeah, but I mean, like, where are you basing this conclusion on? What led up to this? Even asking questions, they can tell you're not one of them. And if you ask questions too often, they're just going to put you on the outside. And then you find yourself in no man's land if you're legitimately a left-wing person, but you're also dealing in the real world of facts, evidence, and due process. It's like, that's not the left anymore. The left is legitimately a crowd of witch trials, partially due to social media. So Twitter, all it takes to get on Twitter is a cell phone, and any insanity now has a voice. A mob can whip something up that the media has to take seriously because a million dumb people never stop to ask for evidence and a fair examination of the evidence. And if you are one of those people who asks questions, be it on the left or the right, this happens on the left, they will go through your timeline to find every little thing and bring it up and go, is this you? Is this you? It's like, yes, that's me. I said that. Yes, that's me. I literally said that a week ago. I didn't forget. But that doesn't deal with the point I'm making right here, right now. It's like, why don't you address this point instead of deflecting to a secondary point? Oh, because I can't address your point. It's like, it's just a bunch of children, basically. So I do it myself. I'll say something off the cuff and kind of move on, or sarcastically. But there's a lot of people on Twitter who have a hard time with sarcasm. They for a couple different reasons. It could be a function of IQ, or some people are just cognitively not tuned in to a sarcasm in context, or they don't want to read the context, or they want to reach a conclusion, so they'll manipulate the argument any way to reach that conclusion. It's like Twitter is just Jussie Smollett, America. That's Twitter. You can't argue with stupid people. It's like, I feel like if you boiled Twitter down, you'd have the face of Jussie Smollett with like a laundry line around his neck, and this is MAGA country. That this Twitter is a collection of people, like at least Jussie Smollett's attacker went to jail. A collection of people who like straw man this argument and then beat themselves up over it and then hate you because like you didn't take your part in the argument seriously. You didn't take them seriously enough. It's like everything. So why would I take you seriously? I just like you can refer to half the things they say. Every little hate issue, and you guys like Jussie Smollett. Oh well, just because there was one fake hoax. And then you point to all these other various hoaxes. It's like everything the left has is a straw man. If they didn't have the straw man argument, I don't know what they'd be left with. Twitter is not a bell curve distribution. It's dumb, violent people who don't know that they're dumb, violent people. It's kids who think that they're going to hold these childish views forever. And it's it got to be a weird time growing up with social media to, like, if you're on social media, you really want to stay anonymous as a kid or as an adult. Do not, because social media is forever. And if you're a kid with some bizarro, stupid views, you're trying to be some edgy kid, it's like, it's forever. Social media is forever. Don't tie your name to your social media account. And really, like, there's really nothing to be gained from Twitter and the mainstream social media. And adults who never grow up, which is like cat ladies and soy boys. So there are these like stubborn, stupid people on Twitter who are painful to deal with. There are people who believe CNN, Snopes, and Wiki. Those are legitimate sources. No, they're not, because they've been shown to be false in the past. In case you've been asleep in the past 5 to 10 years, the new fad for kids is the BLT nonsense. Kids obviously need attention, and unfortunately nowadays it appears that adults need attention too. That's a few decades ago, adults would not have been acting this way. They would have just been adults and taking care of their kids. But I don't know, maybe because people are having fewer kids nowadays, it's like there's more time for them to stay in childhood. A few decades ago, it was the metrosexual fad. Even South Park mentioned the metrosexual fad and the crab people. It's funny, South Park dropped so many red pills. At the time, I wasn't aware of it, and now I look back and I think back on the South Park, the hints they were dropping. It's like, oh, they know what's up. So metrosexual, that was pretty gay, but apparently it wasn't gay enough for the puppet masters who want to turn the humiliation ritual up to 11. So enter the pan attention getter. I remember Miley Cyrus came out with that 10, 15 years ago or something. Because bi didn't get enough attention, so you had to now say pan, which I think means the same thing. But eventually the shine on that kind of wore off, so you enter the T in the BLT, which is a deeper level of hell because of the rates of self-removal from this mortal coil. And here's the thing to this, I don't know, if you're listening to this and you're in the BLT community, you think, oh, these Nazis on the right, they just hate the BLT community because they don't want them to mutilate themselves and self-harm. Well, if we were really the Nazis on the right, wouldn't we encourage this? Because, like, wouldn't we encourage you to mutilate yourself, which effectively sterilizes yourself? I mean, doesn't it seem odd that we don't want you to sterilize yourself? I mean, if we really, like, if we really hated you guys, we would say, yeah, go ahead and mutilate yourself, sterilize yourself. Oh, this is the softer, gentler path. I mean, like, if you're in the BLT community and you think, like, all these people hate you so much that they don't want you to hurt yourselves, maybe, just maybe think about that for, like, a minute. Just think about that. They don't want you to permanently sterilize yourselves. But they're the bad guys. But the media and academia and these medical butchers who do want you to permanently sterilize yourself, they're the good guys. it's possible that somebody's peeing on your leg and calling it rain. Maybe, I mean, just look at things as they are without all this propaganda. It's not, it's like it's a constant, life is a constant, it's like these levels of onions, just peeling away these onions to get to the core of like, oh, it's been fake and gay this whole time. Like everything is propaganda. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just like life's a series of constantly washing off this propaganda. I don't know. Men or women? Words have meanings. Words are collections of sounds and letters that refer to things or concepts. It's hysterical that 1984, Fahrenheit 451, A Brave New World, like those were. Are they going to take those books off the shelf now? Because I think those were written by kind of leftists, and he predicted the boot of fascism. It's like, no, it's Bolshevism. It's been Bolshevism this whole time because fascism usually works and Bolshevism doesn't. No, it's a pejorative. No, the right and the left, they use these words as pejoratives. It's like, it's not, don't just parrot something. Like, words have meanings. Look up what the origin of the word means. And then, like, have you been manipulated this whole time? It's like, yeah, I think so. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys all on Odyssey, Bit Chute, and Telegram.